YouTube, Johnny Kalashnikov here. Today's video is called Dealing with an Addict. Now, the addiction doesn't matter whether it's alcoholic, whether it's drug addict, no matter what the addiction is, it's still an addiction. This is a part 2 to the video that I just did last time called Inspired or Expired. What kind of life are you living? So basically, if you didn't catch that one, check it out, Inspired or Expired. Whenever you're dealing with an addict, you're not dealing with a normal person. The reason I'm doing this video is because I was reminded of the grim realities of addiction, especially alcoholism. A few days ago, my neighbor from a few houses down, lady came by my door around 8, 9 o'clock at night, knocked on the door. Hey, can I borrow your phone? What's going on? I said, call 911. My husband's trying to kill me. And she's sitting there with a pair of scissors in her hand. So I called 911. Sheriff, of course, takes his sweet time getting here. So I was talking to her. She said that her husband, who's an alcoholic, got violent and was threatening her life. She grabbed a pair of scissors, stabbed him with the scissors, and she barely made it out of the house alive. So, inspired or expired? I mean, that's a sad story, and what really crushed me was I was, at one time, the person who was in fear of my life from an alcoholic. Been there, done that, know what it feels like. It's not fun. And if you're going through a situation similar to that, or maybe you're the alcoholic or the drug addict yourself, understand what you're dealing with. Now, why I said this is a part 2 for inspired or expired, there's 2 different types of people out there. People who are inspired, people who are expired. You can tell the difference by looking into a person's eye. If you see a person that they got that spark of life in their eye, they're inspired, they're doing something productive, they're doing something helpful to society, they're using the gifts and talents that God's given them to benefit others. You're not just living for yourself. If you are an addict, I don't care, I said, whether it's drug addict, alcoholic, if you have some sort of addiction that is taking away your ability to control your life, then you're not inspired, you're expired, you're dead. You know, if you're dealing with an addict, whether the addict is you, there's a part of you that is dead. If you're a person living with an alcoholic, living with their abuse, realize having them swear up and down that they're going to change, that's not going to do anything. It's really not. And you need to be able to come to that conclusion that there is a part of the addict that is dead. There's no amount of self-help that's going to help somebody. I mean, the human will is a strong thing, and from time to time you do get a person who can stop cold turkey, but that's not really the case. That person, there's something dead about them, so you need to acknowledge the death there, and they can't give themselves life. I used to be an addict. I used to be a drug addict. I used to be an alcoholic. I should have died from my addictions. One of the worst weeks of my life, I took over 600 prescription painkillers with vodka. I should be dead, but I'm not. That person, when I was that person, I didn't have a spark of life in my eye. I didn't have anything to live for. What happened to that person? Physically, I'm still the same person, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I'm not. That person died a long time ago. It was only through a new life God gave me hope. If you look at the different 12-step programs, one of the first things that they do, they realize, is I am powerless over this addiction. I can swear, I can promise, I can lift my hand, I can put my hand on the Bible. It doesn't matter. That's not going to help. You need to have a funeral for the person. That addict has to die in order to get new life, in order to get inspired. Inspired means, the root of the word is in spirit, or inspirited, where you're given a life, a new spirit about you. That the spirit of the addict needs to die. You need to have a funeral. I am not the same person I was before. You know, before, if you were to hand me a joint or hand me a cigarette or hand me a bottle or some pills, I'd be all over it. Now it's like, nah, that part of me's dead. He's gone. I have no attraction to that stuff at all. Beautiful scripture that describes this says that it is no longer, it says, I've been crucified with Christ. It's no longer I that live, but it's Christ who lives through me. That old me, he's been crucified. He's dead. He's on that cross. He's been put to death. There's nothing in the addiction world that does anything good. I mean, there's nothing that's worth going back to that. So, because that part of me's dead. And if you're the addict, realize that part of you's got to die. And there's only one way to overcome addictions, which is not through your own power, but through God and His power. If you're dealing with an addict, realize that unless they get serious about wanting to change, they have to die. That part of them has to die. You have to die. You can't hang out with the same people and expect to have different circumstances. You can't hang out with your drinking buddies and expect to stay sober. It's not going to happen. You need to change your habits. I love this. I just stole this from Brian Tracy. It says, good habits are hard to form, but they're easy to live with. Bad habits are easy to learn, but they're hard to live with. You have to change everything about you. You have to completely change in order to live a life free of addictions. Comments, questions, put them down below. I'll answer them. Subscribe and you get a free copy of my book, which will be done this summer. Peace.